It was supposed to be the perfect summer getaway before college. The last carefree nights before adulthood. But by the end of August, one friend would vanish forever, and the others would never speak again. There's a small lake tucked away in upstate New York. Locals call it Raven's Hollow, though it doesn't appear on many maps. For years, a group of 5 childhood friends spent every summer there at one of their family's cabins. They were inseparable: Jake, the natural leader; Sarah, the dreamer who carried her journal everywhere; Matt, the quiet observer; Leah, the sarcastic one; and Chris, the joker who made everyone laugh. That summer was different. They'd just graduated high school. College was looming. Life was about to pull them in 5 different directions. This, August of 2009, was their last summer together. They wanted it to be unforgettable. And it was. Just not in the way they hoped. We don't know every detail of those days. But we do know some, because Sarah kept a journal. Her entries capture the smell of burning marshmallows, the sting of sunburns, the sound of cicadas echoing through humid nights. She wrote about Jake's laugh echoing across the water, about Leah's constant teasing, about how badly she didn't want this summer to end. But midway through August, her writing shifted. One entry read, "We saw someone across the lake tonight. A man, I think. Just standing there, watching. When I pointed it out, Jake said it was just a fisherman. But fishermen don't stand in the dark with no gear." A few nights later, another entry, "Woke up to footsteps outside the cabin. Thought it was Chris, but everyone was asleep. Whoever it was stopped right at the dock. Didn't move for at least 10 minutes. Just waited." Sarah's words, once filled with laughter and sunsets, were turning into fragments of fear. On their last night, the group built one final bonfire on the lakeshore. They roasted AbyssalMares, shared plans for the future, promised to keep in touch. Around midnight, Jake, always the fearless one, announced he was going for one last swim. The others laughed, teasing him for being sentimental. Sarah's final diary entry, written just before it happened, said, "He said the lake would remember us if he swam across. But something in me screamed no. Something about tonight feels wrong." Jake dove in. At first, they could see his head bobbing in the moonlit water. His arms slicing through the lake with easy strokes. Then, silence. Sarah shouted his name. No answer. Chris waded in, thinking Jake was messing with them. But the water was empty. Within minutes, panic set in. They ran along the shoreline, shouting, searching, shining flashlights across the black surface. The only sound was the gentle lap of waves against the dock. Jake was gone. The police arrived before dawn. They searched the water, sent divers into the lake. No body was ever recovered. The official conclusion: drowning. Jake swam out too far, got tired, sank. Tragic, but ordinary. But the friends didn't believe it. Matt told investigators he saw movement near the tree line the moment Jake disappeared, as if someone dragged something into the woods. Leah claimed she heard a splash far closer to shore than where Jake had been. Chris swore he saw a shadow on the dock, but when the flashlight hit it, there was nothing there. Their stories didn't match, and police chalked it up to shock, confusion, grief. But one fact remained undeniable: Jake was gone, and the lake had no answers. The friends never reunited. Guilt and suspicion tore them apart. Sarah never returned to Raven's Hollow. She left her diary with her mother, who later shared it with investigators hoping for closure. But in 2019, 10 years later, Matt returned. He said he couldn't sleep, couldn't live with the silence. He wanted to say goodbye. On a late August evening, he stood alone at the old dock. The wood was rotting, the lake eerily still. He whispered Jake's name into the wind. And there, folded neatly on the planks, was a hoodie. Jake's hoodie. The same one he wore the night he vanished. Freshly placed. Dry. As if someone had just left it there. Was Jake really claimed by the lake that night? Or was something else waiting in those woods, watching, just like Sarah wrote? The lake house still stands, though no one dares stay overnight. But if you ever visit Raven's Hollow, and you hear footsteps outside your cabin, don't open the door. And if you want to know what really happened to Jake, subscribe, because the story of Raven's Hollow isn't finished yet. Another end of summer story starts with a carnival that spirals into something else. Every summer, during the very last week of August, the carnival came to town. Rides, games, food, fireworks. It was the highlight of the year. But one summer, it disappeared overnight. And 3 teenagers, who were last seen at that carnival, vanished with it. Small towns thrive on traditions. And in the little Midwestern town of Mill Creek, that tradition was the end of summer carnival. Every year, trucks would roll in during the last week of August. Within a single day, an empty field became alive with color, Ferris wheels spinning, popcorn machines hissing, and bright neon lights blinking against the summer night sky. For kids, it meant freedom. For teens, it meant love, adventure, and one last taste of summer before school locked them back inside. In 1994, 3 friends, Aaron, Tyler, and Michelle, were determined to make it their best carnival yet. They were 16, finally old enough to stay out past midnight, and they planned to end their summer on a high note. But for them, the carnival would be more than a night of rides and games. It would be the last place they were ever seen. The 3 arrived just before sunset. They rode the Ferris wheel, shared funnel cakes, and played rigged games that no one ever really won. But other things stuck out, too. Erin told her brother later that the workers seemed different. They weren't local, obviously, but they weren't friendly, either. They avoided eye contact, didn't laugh, and when anyone asked where the carnival came from, they'd just smile and say, "We'll be gone before you know it." Around 10 p.m., an elderly man who ran the cotton candy stand leaned close to the kids and whispered, "Don't stay after midnight. Carnivals don't belong to towns. Towns belong to carnivals." They thought it was a joke. A creepy one, but a joke. As the night wore on, Aaron, Tyler, and Michelle lingered near the Ferris wheel. They were last spotted by classmates just before midnight, laughing and sharing a soda. After that, no one saw them again. What happened between midnight and dawn has haunted Mill Creek ever since. The next morning, townspeople woke up to something impossible. The carnival was gone. Completely vanished. The Ferris wheel, the tents, the rides, the trucks, every single piece of it had disappeared, leaving nothing but a flattened, empty field. And so had the 3 teenagers. No tire tracks. No trash. No footprints. It was as if the carnival had never been there at all. The police were baffled. Flyers went up. Search parties combed through fields and woods. Helicopters scanned the area. But there were no signs of Aaron, Tyler, or Michelle. Their bikes were still locked near the carnival grounds. Their money and IDs were at home. It was like the earth had swallowed them whole. Rumors spread quickly. Some claimed it was a human trafficking ring, using the carnival as a cover. Others whispered it was darker, that the carnival was some kind of traveling cult, moving from town to town, taking what it wanted. The old man at the cotton candy stand? He was never identified. Police couldn't find a single record of him, or any of the workers, for that matter. Years passed. Parents grieved. Life moved on, but not really. Every August, families locked their doors early, terrified the carnival might return. Then, in 2005, 11 years later, whispers started online. A photo surfaced on a local forum from a county fair in Texas. It showed a carousel. But in the background, blurred, was a familiar face. People swore it was Michelle. Same freckles, same smile, but older, like she hadn't aged 11 years, but only 5. Soon, other reports trickled in, a Ferris wheel in Kentucky that looked exactly like the one from Mill Creek. A game booth in Arkansas run by a man who matched Tyler's description. Every time the carnival appeared, it vanished again within days, leaving only questions. To this day, the case is unsolved. Aaron, Tyler, and Michelle remain missing. Some believe they were kidnapped. Others believe they became part of the carnival, trapped, forever working the rides that once brought them joy. But one thing's for sure, in Mill Creek, no one celebrates the end of summer anymore. The fields where the carnival once stood remain empty, overgrown with weeds. Parents still tell their kids, if the carnival comes back, don't go. Because carnivals don't belong to towns. And sometimes, towns don't get their kids back.